If you don't know this before starting your hair journey or taking your hair journey seriously, I promise you'll just be wasting your time and your money. Hi, my name is Isatu and welcome to my page, AstousNaturals. For those of you guys who's already subscribed and has been tuning in since I started posting on this channel, maybe like about 2-3 months ago, so sorry for the drastic just leave for these 2 past months. It's been so much going on, moving around, just so much. But glory be to God, I will be consistent in starting my weekly content again. So don't worry about me leaving on you guys again. But if you're new, like, comment, and subscribe. There's going to be some really cool, exciting content coming up. Not only will I be making these informative videos, but I'll start to do something new. I'll start to share with you guys different kind of not only techniques, but recipes, different things you can make for your own hair. Yes, I run my own natural hair care line. In fact, I just relaunched with upgraded products. And as you guys can see, my hair in just 3 years is already to the middle of my back since I big chopped it 3 years ago. So yes, in my hair care line, we go back to the basics using God's creation, which helps us thrive in our natural beauty. You gotta feed what's natural with natural. Come on now. So as some of you guys might have seen already in the beginning of the video, me saying, if you don't know this one thing before taking your natural hair journey seriously or starting it, then literally you will be wasting a lot of money for one and a lot of time. One, I say money. I'm gonna be honest, products nowadays, I mean, it's not like it's $2. You're paying some money and you're gradually buying products because your hair gradually needs to be fed, needs to be hydrated, needs to be moisturized, needs to be oiled. So yes, if you don't know this thing, you'll be wasting money and you'll be wasting time because natural hair it could be time consuming, especially if you're someone that's learning your natural hair or you're in the process of you're about to start taking it serious. It definitely can be time consuming if you haven't adapted a regular routine or if you're someone you're learning your hair, because when you're in that process and journey of learning what works best, learning what routine works for you, it could take some time. This hair is a workout, but it's beautiful. It's amazing. So I know a lot of you guys might have heard this before, but today I'm going to elaborate on why this is vital for anybody natural that's taking their journey. If you don't know your hair's porosity, you'll be wasting a lot of time and a lot of money. And let me tell you why. I'm not about to just sit up here and tell you, oh, just know your hair porosity and that's it. I'm going to tell you why it's vital to know this if you want to have a successful hair journey. Some of you guys might have heard me say this in other videos, but I'm going to say it again in case if you missed it. Natural hair thrives off of moisture. It's like a plant. I always say this, if I were to compare natural hair to anything, I would compare it to a plant. When the more and more you're hydrating it, moisturizing, and I'm not saying overly moisturize, it's all discerning your hair. The more you're learning and growing with your natural hair, you'll know when it feels hydrated, you'll know when it feels dry, or you'll know when it's getting on the verge of being dry. I never say wait till it's dry to moisturize. Normally you can feel that it's still slightly moisturized, but it's starting to not be as moist. So that's when you know it's time to moisturize or do your routine. But again, natural hair thrives off of moisturization. So basically, for those of you who might not know, maybe this is something you've heard of before, but you don't know in depth, what is your hair's porosity? Yes, you have high porosity, you have medium porosity, you have low porosity. Your hair's porosity is simply, in basic words, I'm not about to be using no high tech words for you guys. In basic words, your hair's porosity is how well your hair absorbs moisture. And we'll break those in different parts when it comes to, like I mentioned, the high, middle, and low porosity. And also, for those of you guys who might not know, I'll also describe to you guys just a quick little test you can do at home to check that as well. Okay, so I'm going to simply break down when it comes to the different porosities, when it comes to how well your hair absorbs moisture. Okay, so if you have low porosity, my hair is like the low porosity / middle porosity, but it's in between. I wouldn't say it easily absorbs moisture, but I would definitely say it's not extremely hard to absorb moisture. Like I've seen some people where they literally have to rinse their hair in warm water for a long time and then their hair cuticles. And the cuticles is the thing that opens the hair strand so that that moisture can come in, that water can come in. So yes, that's what I am, in case if anyone's wondering, but I'm going to hit these specific key points. Let's start with low porosity hair. Low porosity hair is people, in basic terms, people whose hair strands have a hard time absorbing moisture. But the beautiful thing about people with low porosity hair is once they've developed a routine and they know how to get that moisture in their hair, the beauty about low porosity hair is that that moisture stays in their hair for a while. So I'm gonna give you an example. I don't know if you've ever seen someone, or maybe this might be you, in case if you don't know if you have low porosity hair, when you maybe take a spray bottle and it looks like the water is just sitting on top of your hair, like in these little balls. I'll insert a picture maybe somewhere so you guys can see, because I'm a visual learner, so I know some people learn by looking and seeing visually. When those water beads are just sitting on top of your hair when you're rinsing it or whatever it is, or spraying it, that's simply because the hair cuticles are shut and that water is not entering in. So what it's doing is basically running down on your hair and sitting on top of your hair. So the real question for people with low porosity hair is, what do I have to do to get these hair cuticles open so that now the moisture, the water, the moisturization, whatever you use, can now enter in my hair strands? Me, I truly believe for low porosity people is using warm water first. If not to spray your hair, then before you have your wash day, to let it just soak on your hair before you do anything. Or even if you're someone like me, you use a pre-poo or a pre-mask before shampooing, because that's a whole different other topic. But I truly believe every person that's natural should use some kind of pre-poo or pre-mask before shampooing, because I don't believe in going into shampooing your hair when it's dry. That's just something I wouldn't do. And that's a way of just signing up for your hair just to be tangling and all that. That's just unnecessary. But we digress. Whether if that's shampoo, whether if that's pre-pooing, whether if you're moisturizing your hair, letting your hair soak in warm water, or having your spray bottle filled with really warm water so that those hair cuticles can open. And a really good example, if I were to give anyone an example of what you might can relate this to, I will relate this to if anyone's into skincare or anything. You know, some people, they might steam their face with warm water, or they might steam their face with like a steamer coming out with hot steam, because all that's doing is opening your pores on your skin. So think of your pores on your skin like your hair cuticles. That's the best way I can think of that. And then when people open up their pores on their skin, then that's when they go and wash in their face. They do their skin routine. So yes, think of that when it comes to your hair cuticles. And that same technique to open up your hair cuticles. Hair steam, warm hot water, warm hot spray. And I know some people, they even sit under a hair dryer, one of those hair steamers, when they're putting in their hair mask, when they're doing their pre-poos before they shampoo, when they're doing a hot oil treatment. There's a lot of people who sit under that dryer. Simply, a lot of people that do that is because of that low porosity hair, to lock in that moisture, lock in those oils in their head. So yes, that is the key for any low porosity headed person, of how to get that moisture in. Now, again, I mentioned before, once you've been successful at getting that moisture in, the beauty about getting the moisture in, when those hair cuticles shut, it stays in there. So that's the amazing part about it. In a separate video, I'll teach you guys what products works best for low porosity. Let me know if you guys would like a video like that. Comment down below before I do it. Let me know, comment down below if you guys would like a video on what kind of products works best for different hair types when it comes to porosity. If I see that you guys would like a video like that, then I'll definitely make one for you guys. But okay, so next, middle porosity hair is pretty simple. You don't have to do any form of extra techniques or anything. Middle porosity hair is just how it sounds. Moisture absorbs pretty easily in your hair. You don't really have difficult time really retaining the moisture in or getting the moisture in. So for most parts, people with middle porosity hair, most products work really good for their hair. I would just say from time to time, when you're moisturizing your hair, if you want that moisture to retain, just seal it in with some oil. Not a lot. You don't need a lot. Maybe a little bit on your hands, and just glide it through in sections, or just however you normally do your everyday routine or every week, every month routine. If your hair is high porosity, that means water enters in your hair, moisture enters in your hair with actual ease, like very easily. You don't have to do anything majestic to get that moisture in your hair. The only problem with you guys is that moisture leaves out your hair really fast. Again, the opposite of people with low porosity, you're someone that your hair cuticles are already open. They're already open. They're not shut like people with low porosity hair. So getting that moisture in is super easy. But what you guys need to learn is how to retain that moisture. Because again, natural hair thrives off of moisture. I will keep out some of the stuff I might be saying might sound repetitive, but just to remind you guys, if that moisture is in your hair and it leaves in 2 hours, then who wants to consistently be moisturizing their hair every hour, every 2 hours? So the main important thing for people with high porosity hair is to learn certain regimens, learn certain techniques on locking in moisture. So I know some of you guys might have heard the lock method. You guys might hear a lot moisturizing your hair and sealing it in with oil. Things of that nature will be very vital for high porosity hair. People with high porosity hair. And two, another thing I must add, there's some people with high porosity hair. You might think you have high porosity hair because you can have high porosity hair when your hair strands and cuticles are just damaged. I'm gonna be real. Some people, they put a lot of heat. They just put significant amount of heat and chemicals in their hair. So it's not necessary that you have high porosity hair by nature, but you can't really distinguish what's real and what's because of damage. So that's another thing I would say. If you're someone with damaged hair, I'm gonna be honest, it'll be super hard to tell what your real natural hair in its healthy state is. So the only thing I would say to you, sister girl or bro, cut it off. Be like me, cut it off, start fresh, because some of these things is hard to really elaborate on. It's really hard to elaborate on when someone's hair is damaged. So yes, lock method will be very significant for people with high porosity hair. Sealing your hair after your hair moisture regimen with some kind of oil. It doesn't have to be a super heavy oil, but make sure and your hair doesn't have to be super oily either, because you don't want your hair to look super weighed down. But knowing the products and the kind of oils to seal in that moisture. Some of you guys might be wondering, how do I know what my hair porosity is? Simply, if you take a cup of water, maybe take a hair strand, you don't have to pull it out your hair, maybe get a comb or a brush where you've done your hair, take a piece of your hair out. The water, don't let the water be super cold, maybe room temperature, a little warm. Place that hair strand in the cup of water. If it stays on top after like a minute or two, you have low porosity hair. Now, if you're someone with like middle porosity hair, when you put your hair strand in that cup of water, then most likely after a minute or so, it will begin to sink. It won't drop all the way down to the bottom, but for the most part, it'll be like in the middle, just floating, maybe a little bit in the water. Now, if you're someone with high porosity hair, when you put that hair strand in, maybe after a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, a minute or two, that hair strand will be completely down, be literally down to the bottom of that cup of water. And that's how you will know what porosity you have. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below what porosity hair you guys have. I'm curious. And again, don't forget to let me know if you guys would love to hear about what kind of products, the texture of what kind of products work really good for porosity types. Until next time, bye guys.